So let's talk about the qualities of a successful accent instructor. Now, I bring this up because I know so many people who think that to teach accents or to teach dialects, that you need to be an expert and you need to have tons and tons of training. Okay, you do need to have some training. There are certain skills that you need to be proficient in. And we're going to talk about those skills in just a moment. But skill and knowledge are only part of what makes a successful accent instructor. And I've been doing this for a really long time, and I have friends and colleagues who have been doing it for a long time. And I see other teachers as they're getting started who is successful and who's not as successful at this work. And there are a few qualities that most successful accent instructors or accent coaches or whatever you decide to call yourself, but there are a few qualities that they all have in common. So I wanted to start off today by talking about these qualities because I don't think new teachers realize how important they are. And you probably have many of these qualities already. So first of all, you need to be a good listener and you need to know how to keep a conversation going. This is one of the most important things that you'll take away from tonight's training. It's so simple, but conversational practice is the most important part of accent training. You need your students to talk. You need to hear how they sound in real conversations so you can offer feedback and corrections in real conversations. I say this a lot to new teachers. No one cares that your students are great out loud readers. No one cares that your students can read off of a practice sheet. It matters. Their speech matters when they're ordering food in a restaurant, when they're talking to their colleagues, when they're out at happy hour trying to be easily understood. Conversational practice is the most important part of all of this. So my job as a speech coach is to give my students as much conversational practice as possible in each session. So I need to keep them talking. And I need to be careful that I'm not talking too much. And that's a bit of a balancing act to hold a conversation with someone, to hold back a bit on how much you're talking, and also to be providing the feedback and the corrections. You do have to, it's a skill that gets better with practice, but it can feel really different if you haven't done it before. You have to be sure that your sessions are conversational training sessions and not lectures. We're not teaching, we're helping them to practice. And conversational practice also builds confidence in our students. And so much of this work is building confidence in our students more than anything else. It's not about the rhythm or the pronunciation or the ah sound. It's how confident are they when they're out in the world speaking. That's what we're building. And you have to remember that the ESL speakers who come to us for accent training are usually already nervous and anxious and self-conscious about the way they speak. They're constantly worrying about being understood. They're constantly worrying about being judged by other people. So when they can sit in a session with us and relax and practice having an in-depth conversation with someone who is helping them and not judging them, it's so incredibly useful for them, and it's so effective in improving the way they sound. So you have to be a good listener, and you need to know how to keep a conversation going. You need to love languages, and you need to love learning about other cultures. When you do this work, you'll be working with students from all over the world. And if you want your students to keep coming back for more sessions, you need to build a real trusting relationship with them. They become your friends. And just like a relationship that you build with your friends, you have to be interested in their lives. And a big part of that with our students is being interested in learning about their language and their culture and where they came from, where they grew up. And honestly, I think this is what I love most about what I do. This is the best part of the job. I've been able to learn firsthand about other cultures, about other places, languages, traditions, religions, all of these things firsthand from my students, because we're doing all this talking in our sessions. It's really amazing. But if you're not open to learning about other languages and cultures, I think it puts up a barrier in this kind of work. So you need to be curious overall. That's what you need to be. You need to be curious. These are all important. This one is goes in a slightly different way, but you have to be willing to show up consistently and let potential students know how you can help them. So in other words, you have to be willing to actively market your services. And so many teachers don't want to be marketers. They just want their students to appear magically. And it's not how it happens. You have to be willing to get out there and actively market your services. This could mean being active on social media, on your blog or a guest blog, in Facebook groups, on Clubhouse, on TikTok. I don't care where it is, even paid advertising, whatever. But you need to show up consistently. And you need to get really clear about explaining how your students' lives will be better after working with you. That's marketing. That's all it is. That's marketing. I'm a natural introvert. So showing up online in social media, it's not easy for me. It gets easier the more you do it, but it's not easy, especially if that's not your thing. But I really want you to realize that this was this is one of the biggest mistakes I made. I had a decent amount of experience with accent training when I started my own practice because I worked for someone else for 11 years. So I thought I would put up a website, put my services on it, and the students would magically show up, like build it and they will come kind of thing. It didn't happen. It doesn't happen. I don't care how I was so skillful at that point, 11 years of experience. So even if you are skillful, it doesn't mean that people know that you are skillful. Marketing is a huge part of this, and marketing your services takes time, effort, consistency, and a real plan for finding students. So just keep that in mind. But one of the best and cheapest ways to do this is by being consistent and posting on social media. You build an audience of potential students who are interested in your services. They come to your website, they enroll. Getting out there on social media lets potential students know about your services, and know your teaching style. So the more you show up, the more they get to know you, the more they like you, the more they trust you. And that's the point where they decide to work with you. They don't decide to work with you the first time they see you on social media or the first time they find you in a Google search. They decide to enroll after they've gotten to know you a little. And that happens for most of us through social media. So that's marketing in a nutshell. Show up consistently, build a relationship, and show your potential students how you can help.